What's up, Pisces gang? Welcome to my channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. That's me. My name's Annie, and we're going to read your tarot cards. This will be a reading specifically geared towards Pisces rising and Pisces sun, but of course, anyone and everyone is welcome into this reading. Only take away what resonates with you. Never force anything to fit your circumstance or scenario. I want you to walk away feeling motivated, inspired, empowered, or at bare minimum, walking away with just something to think about, right? If you're not feeling that way, feel free to click off. It might not be your message this week, but do check back in the future. Those are my general rules. Let's try and have some fun and get some messages out to the Pisces gang, all right? Pisces, split the deck. Here we go, Pisces. All right, first card coming out is Strength. Good for you. So the sun is going to be moving into Virgo in the next few days, actually. Virgo being sort of the polar opposite of Pisces. This could be good, especially in terms of your having much more of a focus on your relationships. Very likely your long-term relationships. It could be business partnerships, but very frequently, especially kind of with Venus and Mars in that house as well, there could be much more focus on your romantic partnerships in the long term. For those of you who are single and looking, we'll get there. But with the sun moving into your seventh house of partnerships again in the next week or so, the sun just brings much more of a focus, a highlight, more of a spotlight. So interestingly enough, you have the star coming up there, which is a very beautiful card, very fortuitous, long-term hopes and dreams and wishes. And interestingly enough, sort of leading up to that, you have the sun, the Hierophant, and the star. So like all three in a row, Pisces, this looks awesome. These are heavy hitters. These are big players. They're in tarot what we call the major arcana, some of them, of course. So these are big, important events or significant people in your life. Yes, I'm using Nightmare Before Christmas tarot, so a little wacky, but the messages still remain that these are very significant cards, and generally speaking, unless they're being clarified with something that has a more heavy connotation, typically they're good. They're pretty big events. The Hierophant frequently does represent long-term contracts because he is the priest, the pope, the one who marries us. So, I mean, for some of you, if that makes sense and where you're at in your life right now, you may be connecting with someone who is going to hold an important or significant place in your life for years to come. Or some of you, if this is romantic and you're kind of feeling like you want to give it the go-ahead for the long term, some of you may be discussing plans for marriage or moving forward with a wedding of some kind. Yeah, I like this very much. Sometimes major arcana can represent zodiac signs in our life too. So coming up in that seventh house of partnership, you do potentially have an Aquarius. Of course, it could be any sign. But it's like the stars are aligning. The universe is sort of orchestrating things to work out in your favor here. And as it is, we have three planets sitting in that seventh house of partnership. We have, Mercury, communications, Mars, sexuality, action, passion, assertion, as well as Venus. So yes, it can be love and partnership as well as money too. So if this isn't resonating in terms of a long-term romantic prospect, absolutely. If you're open yourself up to look out for long-term business prospects too, because those go hand in hand there. So yes, sorry, I got distracted there. So we do have Aquarius sitting in that house. You also have the Hierophant, which typically is a representing Taurus. Of course, it doesn't have to be. I always want to put that out there. And then you have the sun, which is typically associated with Leo. I just love this card. It looks so happy. It's like his eyes are lit up, right? So let's transition over into those of my Pisces rising, whoever's watching this reading, if you're resonating with this. For those who are single and looking or starting to date and kind of putting out feelers, this is what's coming up in your house of dating and sex for pleasure versus eighth house, which is more sort of sex for an actual purpose, like merging to create. That's more eighth house sex. This is just like, hey, let's hang out and see what's up. Like this feels very happy. This feels very positive. Some of you may be connecting with a Leo. Some of you may be gifted a piece of jewelry or something that something that glimmers is sort of what I'm getting. Something about that the connection of the light there, like the twinkling in the eye, the sparkling, something about, now I'm seeing sparkling on like lake or ocean waves or something. You know how when the sun catches the water, right, it like glistens? So maybe you're going on a little vacation and you're hanging out in the water, or I don't know what it is. It feels really lovely and it feels really positive. So good for you, Pisces. Let's look at some of your other cards and see what else I can tell you for the coming week or two. That's sort of how I'm reading these, but of course the timeline of manifestation is up to you guys. I don't know why I'm sort of being called to your 8th house because you have Justice sitting there. So it's really interesting. You have a lot of, again, heavy hitters, big players in the tarot deck. The Sun, the Hierophant, the Star, and then Justice sitting in your 8th house, which represents contracts. And so 8th house connotation, yes, sex for a purpose, but it's a lot of connotations. 8th house, sex, death, other people's money. So again, merging of partnerships. The fact that this card is coming up here, it actually is very even symbolic with Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot. It like perfectly illustrates 8th house matters, like contracts and then, yes, death, I suppose. But I mean, I don't want you to necessarily think of that in terms of, the darker connotations. As we associate with Scorpio and 8th house matters, it has a lot to do with transformation and ending of cycles, death of cycles, and beginnings of new ones. So again, I'm wanting to say, and yeah, this is beautiful, guys. Entering into some sort of partnership or contract where there's long-term potential, but it's not necessarily entrepreneurial by nature. It's a little bit more at minimum one-to-one, and it might even be bigger than that. And then sort of what's coming in terms of like instantly, whether this is marriage contract or money contract, I want to look at, okay, well, what does that look like in terms of money? So with money, you have the 9 of, I believe this is Pentacles. Hold on, give me 1 second. Yes, Pentacles. they're different in this deck, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't Cups. This is 9 of Pentacles. So interestingly enough, as I just said, it's probably merging or contracts. I think it is, but if it has been a long time coming where you've been doing something on your own, because the 9 of Pentacles is typically like what we call like the single ladies card or the, single man, whatever. Independent, self-made man, self-made woman, very hardworking, right? Kind of Venus and Virgo energy. Appreciating the abundance and the wealth that you've created in your own life. It seems like there's a merging of that too. So I will even say this, for some of you, if this is romantic, you may end up connecting with a person who has a lot of wealth, or someone who has a very good standing in their company or something with their business endeavors. There seems to be a lot of money, and you could even look at it as value, something that you deem worthy of your time or worthy of your heart, worthy of your attention, right? Gosh, Pisces, this is crushing it. I love it. So that's coming up in your house of money. But if this is business related, and I'm sort of moving away from romantic storylines, but feel free to insert things if and where they fit. In terms of just strictly kind of money and what that's looking like in the next 2 weeks, it seems like you have some big decision ahead of you. The decision may not have actually come in yet, but it seems like if you've kind of been working at something for a while fairly independently, again, these cards are sort of speaking to each other as you may have an opportunity to join forces, yes, but you also may have a lot of insecurities or anxiety about joining forces with someone or becoming part of a larger corporation or a larger team or sharing your business ideas with someone who you're going to make your partner. Or there's some sort of stress about your history with money. I know this is an odd way to put it, but almost like feeling like you're carrying some sort of stigma about your money or how you've earned a living in the past. I do think this is a really great opportunity, but you may have to sacrifice something small to take it, and I'm not sure you're ready to do that yet, or it just requires a little bit more thinking, a little bit more needing to sit with that energy and make sort of better informed decisions. For some of you, it may have to do with something that is more artistic by nature, especially like clothing and costume design. I'm totally seeing that here. That's funny. So then let me see. This isn't a bad card by any means. And like, I don't believe there are any bad cards in tarot. There's just sometimes heavier energy. 2 of Needles, 2 of Swords in traditional tarot. It really just talk about indecision. Typically, it's saying that the deciding factor, the evidence that's going to help you move forward on a decision, it really does exist within you. It's not so much a card of seeking external validation or approval or permission. It's like, you have to kind of go with the facts that you have. And obviously you don't need to, run to the races to make this decision if that doesn't feel authentic and true to you. But here's what I get from this, Pisces, and obviously I never mean to offend. You may be pushing back the responsibility of making a decision either because you just don't know, or you're fearful of making a wrong move, or fearful that if you move forward with something, you're not going to get the results or the outcome that you're desiring. To that, I would say, tough love. Life is a gamble. Sometimes we don't have guarantees. And I guess the peace of mind I want to offer to you is that the right answer already exists within you. And I think you can minimize your stress or your fear by understanding that even if you move forward with something, worst case scenario, you're going to walk away knowing a whole lot more than you did before versus sort of just kind of staying in indecision land, right? I will say the cards supporting this, if you will, are incredibly positive, especially something with a Taurus, or I'm not sure exactly how this would relate, but something about funding or money with someone high up. Again, it could be a Taurus, something to do in writing or physical labor. I don't know if you're applying for some sort of loan for your business or something like that. I would say too, if you've already moved forward with a decision, there may still be a few facts and figures or details that are sort of working themselves out in the background. You may be going off of gut instinct for a bit and waiting to see, almost searching for like spiritual validation that you've made the right choice. And I think that will come in time, but there is a period where it's like finding your footing again because something is new and different. But based on sort of what I'm seeing here, I think this is like a long time coming, and I think it could be very big. But it may take time for you to feel fully confident and comfortable in whatever this new chapter is, or this new cycle, or just this new role, this new responsibility, this new freedom, right? Say you get granted that loan that you want, you may be like, oh my gosh, I have all this money, and with that I have this responsibility, and now I'm like, do you know what I mean? Like your anxiety may be triggered. So again, Two of Swords says just like remove yourself from that stressful energy or that stressful situation, and like take a moment to breathe, don't make decisions when you're feeling rushed and stressed. Take a minute to just like sit, maybe meditate, listen to some music, get into that beautiful Pisces trance that a lot of you thrive in, right? Because when you're in sort of that state where you can absorb messages from the divine or a higher power, odds are it's coming from a very real source, a very real place, and also from within your heart, right? Without having to think, well, how does this affect my children or my husband or my mother-in-law, or you know what I mean? Again, not a bad card. I see you sort of grappling with decisions, and then more decisions once a decision is made. And again, that's life, that happens, right? So be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, be patient. But I would say do your best to not avoid the responsibility of making decisions. It's so funny that I said something about a mother-in-law, because that's actually coming through. Or I don't, like an extended family member. I am getting female energy, maybe like an aunt or a great aunt, or I don't know if that has to do with your business or you're traveling to see someone. You may be speaking on behalf of someone. And I don't do fear-based reading, guys, ever. That's not what this is about. But if it offers you confirmation, hey, that's great. Maybe this is your message. You may be speaking at a funeral or needing to, do you understand what I mean? Speaking on behalf of someone in honor of them or in memoriam. Or if someone is away, you may be asked to take the mic or stand in for them to deliver their speech, even if they're not passed. Do you understand what I mean? I'm like, please don't jump to, oh my God, who's dying? That's not what this is about. That's never what these are about, right? But yeah, and I don't totally know why that's significant. That just came to me. You may be speaking on behalf of a maternal-like figure, or someone who, again, you're being asked to stand in for them and deliver some powerful words or speech or something. Maybe that has to do with this company thing. Maybe you're collaborating with a family member, a cousin, an aunt on something, and maybe you're making a proposal to them about money or finances. And I mean, the mere fact that the first card coming out is strength, it says you're stronger than you know. And I know that sounds sort of like a fluffy way of putting it, but really, like when I look at the depiction of this card, right? Not the typical strength card, but I think it's important to note, yes, it's silly and funny, but he looks kind of sad. It looks like he's questioning himself. And what's opposing this is maybe a lot of, again, those heavy hitters. Are you feeling intimidated? Are you feeling like you don't fit in? Are you leaning into those maybe subconscious or unconscious insecurities where it's like, I don't think I deserve to be with these people. Like, they've been doing it for years, or this person has, dated not hundreds, but whatever, dozens of people, and this is my first relationship. Like, do you understand? I think there's just insecurity bleeding through here a little bit. But what this is telling me is, no, like, the universe chose you. This is great. You're really going to enjoy this. And maybe Nine of Pentacles is saying, stand strong in your beliefs in yourself, in honoring your own value and your worth. Something about your convictions. You need to be strong in your convictions right now. And you have the World, too. So, yes, something... There's a couple messages coming through here. Culmination, as we've been talking about. I think this is birthing you into the new chapter of something that is going to be really worth your while. I think you're going to enjoy it. There may be quite literally be a lot of people involved in this, right? Maybe you're selling your house, and maybe you're applying to new jobs, and maybe you just met your sweetheart and you're planning the wedding. That's what I mean. Like, you have a lot of people cards, so it's very possible that there's like a domino effect of one thing affects the other. But you're among them. You have to remember that. Like, there's a seat at the table there for you. So if this makes sense to anyone, make sure you're making decisions, again, that honor yourself, that are good for you. It's great to ask the opinions of people you love and trust, but it doesn't mean you have to take them. And I would say this to any water sign. You guys can, on occasion, if you get stressed out, tend to absorb what's around you, whether that's ideas or opinions or attitudes or moods. So again, just maybe this is a good thing. Like, separate yourself from that for a moment. Process what you've taken in, right? If you are asking opinions. But again, Two of Swords says you really don't need to. And I'm not saying make every decision on your own if that's not valid, if that doesn't sort of make sense in your scenario here. But I think it is saying the final decision rests with you, so make sure it is truly what you want and desire. Be a good self-advocate. Let's see. What else can I tell you? You may be having a awkward week with friends. Somebody, I don't even know if it's necessarily you who feels provoked or threatened, but you may have a friend who's just going through a bit of a time. And I'm not sure how much you're supposed to or needing to engage with this. It could just be let them do their thing and work it out. Certainly if they come to you for help, that's up to you. That's actually the only sort of, well, we'll get to that. The only sort of card that I see there being like, ooh, what's going on there? You have like Five of Swords coming up in your friendships or large groups of people. I frequently get this in tarot too. If you're entering into a new space, a new group, whether it's a club or a course or a class or a new office environment or a new group of friends, there may be tensions, specifically with ego, because as I said, that's been a theme of a lot of kind of like power players showing up. So rather than sort of, what is a good word for it? Rather than fold under pressure and be like, oh my God, I can't do it, I don't deserve this, I would really challenge you to think of it as, why has the universe placed me here? Did you ever think maybe you're meant to lead this group? And maybe you're years away from that, right? But maybe I won't even say maybe. There's absolutely a reason why you're being asked to sort of become part of this group, or something that they can gain from you that is quite valuable. Your knowledge, your experience, your kindness, right? Lead by example. I think that's really important here, even when it feels a little bit uncomfortable, Pisces. Again, you're being chosen for a reason here. I hope that didn't just kill your ears when I did that. Sorry. I think there's a feeling of being overwhelmed to enter a group where maybe there's tension among the people, but I'm not necessarily sure it's with you. Okay, so I'm hearing that song Knock 3 Times. I don't know what that's about. Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Tony Orlando. It's from like the 70s, right? I have no idea what that means, but I just heard it, so I'm like, okay, I'll share it with you. Maybe that song will come on the radio and it'll be a thing for you guys. That's so funny. I don't know what that means. I don't even know why that's relevant here, but I don't know. Is there like third party stuff? Is it Knock 3 times? No, I don't even know. I'm not even going to bother interpreting that because it doesn't mean anything to me. It might mean something to you. And if it does, great, go with it. So then let's look at this. The last thing I wanted to touch on is like stuff in the house or the home. I'm hearing things like just getting by. It could be that money is tight. I don't know if you're putting money into things in your house. You may be feeling a sense of, not shame, but, and it's not jealousy. I don't know what the word is. Feeling less than because you don't make as much money as someone in your life, particularly a spouse or a romantic partner or someone who you are being given almost equal responsibility to at work and yet you're making significantly less. Well, that's an area you need to work on then, huh? And I'm not necessarily saying you're doing it wrong, but if there's a problem and again, there's a way to fix it, maybe knocking on the boss's door and, hey, let's talk about that pay raise. You know what I mean? Like being solution oriented. This isn't a bad card. I mean, sometimes Four of Pentacles can be stability and everything is good and taken care of. But at this point, we have nothing left to give, right? Typical Four of Pentacles is the man holding on to his four pentacles, and, he's a foot on each one. Like, sometimes it's very defensive or guarded or selfish with money. And again, I'm not saying that's you. Maybe that's someone you're dealing with in your family. But sometimes that card can also indicate, too, like, we got nothing to give. Like, we have everything we need. We're good. But if a new blessing were to come along, we don't have any hands to accept it. So I think I said that to you earlier, too. There might be a message here of what are you willing to sacrifice or let go of to make room for something better. I'm almost getting the idea of shuffling bedrooms. I don't know if this has to do with children, if you're expecting a new baby or... I don't know, something about, or it could be shuffling offices, but it is coming up in terms of either something that has already happened in your past that you're revisiting or something to do with your house, your home, your land, your property. Maybe you're having to shuffle, I don't know, I'm hearing word like taxes, or I don't know what that is, Pisces. So again, I guess I'm trying to give you some guidance of why that's coming up. Watch extra expenditures that aren't really necessary at this point, because I think especially in terms of like dating, long-term relationships, you may be, dishing out the money to whatever, plan your wedding or just, eat out every weekend. There's a reason for you to be very conservative in how you're spending money right now. And you might not know why yet, but that might make sense later. Yeah. There's an ending and a new beginning, and it's very positive. There's absolutely some new contract in your life. And that is coming up as some sort of need to be very cognizant of how much money you have and to make sure it kind of stays there. Try not to, extra expenditures, extra things like that. Try to really hone in on savings, You may even feel sort of pressured by friends or partners to spend money. Like, hey, we're all going out for drinks. And, if you can do it, great. But if I don't know, something about finances that's really coming up. And there may even be an opportunity to move. And it might not necessarily be something that you necessarily desire, but it comes with the package of whatever all this is. Some of you may not actually need to relocate temporarily to take care of someone in your family or someone who is battling some sort of illness. Yeah, there may be like some sort of unexpected, you have to go from here to here. And so it's like, you're going to need the plane ticket and you got to pay for the hotel. And again, it's not scary per se for all of you. I do see something with like needing to take care of someone or take an unexpected trip to help them clear out their place, but I think it's long-term. Something with a mother or a mother-in-law or a grandmother. Anyway. All right, Pisces. I think that's what I got for you this week. Ooh, what is this? Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Bottom of the deck is seven of Pentacles. So assessment. Again, being really, really aware, hyper aware of how you're spending your money and who it's going to and why. And recheck like the contracts or the terms and conditions. I don't know. Anyway. And something about buying stuff online. You may almost, I hate to use the word swindled, but don't fall for any like ploys online. Like if you get, I don't know, something in your inbox and it seems too good to be true, it is. Something about online marketing or online, I don't know what that is. And I think it's just this week. Sorry. Anyway, all right, Pisces, I'm going to wrap it there. Thanks for joining me here today, guys. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel. It really does help me grow. If you're one of my tried and true and you made it through my awkward two-month hiatus, thank you for coming back. I truly appreciate you guys. And hopefully I'll see you next week for more tarot. Bye, guys.